Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mafia and Me and Shelly podcast.
I'm Mafia Mom.
I am Mini Mafia. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing content.
So here we are. We had some issues last week, some technical issues. I don't think anybody was able to view us live. So I hope you guys were able to catch it after the fact and enjoyed the show. It was a shame we weren't able to interact with you guys last week, unfortunately. We already have a comment here from Spears Bills Talk. You want to read his comment there?
Our season is not over.
I totally agree with you. People like to forget that it was 2 years ago, the year that we went down to the 13 seconds with the Chiefs. We were 7-6 heading into week 15 because we had already had our bye. We were a game behind the Patriots and had just lost to them. We were not looking good. We were deeper in the season. We didn't have the advantage of beating the team ahead of us in the standings in the division. And we were at essentially the same percentage record. We were one win above 500. So it's not over, but you got to get things together quickly. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Bills-Bengals game, and then we'll get into the game coming up against the Broncos. So before we actually get into the Bills talk, though, how you doing today, Minnie?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good. How's your week been?
Good.
Good. Good. And I hope all of you guys out there are having a good week and enjoying life, even though it's a little harder to enjoy when the Bills play like they did last Sunday night. Frustrating game, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you think of it? If you had to pull a couple things out of the game, and in the chat as well, please, by all means, share what you believe. Oh, we have another comment here from Justin Freehate. I hope I'm saying that right. McDermott needs to go. I've been seeing a lot of that, and I'm getting closer to that place, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. And I got a lot of reasons for why. I think he's done a tremendous job holding the defense together, given all the injuries. I mean, last week we were already down an all-pro at each level with Daquan Jones, Matt Milano, and Trey White being out. Then you have Micah Hyde in and out of the game with an injury. Then you lose your only talented healthy linebacker who's playing an every down linebacker. You lose him, and he's also your signal caller. So now you got a rookie in there who's trying to call signals. I mean, it was such a hot mess, and he still managed to hold a pretty powerful offense in check and could have won us the game. So I understand to a certain extent where that talk is coming from, but I'm not as on board with it as maybe Tommy is or some other people. What do you think? Do you think McDermott needs to go?
Like
Be fired?
No.
No,
I have tremendous respect for him. He came in here as an offensive coordinator.
Defensive coordinator.
Whatever.
Well, it's a big difference right now, especially because our defense is rolling and our offense isn't. But
yes, he came in here as a defensive coordinator. He moved up to head coach, I think, his second year.
Well, no. He was hired on here as a head coach. He was a defensive coordinator in Carolina.
Okay, so wait. So are the two defenses are the two teams different, like Carolina and us?
I mean, they're different teams.
No, like the style they play.
The defense is very similar. The offense is different.
Well, he got thrown in here.
But he got to build it up what he wanted it to be.
Yeah, he got thrown in here completely kind of random. He didn't know how the offense would run, but he didn't kind of know how the defense ran. But I still have tremendous respect for him. And I'm pretty sure he does one-arm push-ups every day.
He does seem like an interesting guy. I think when it comes down to
I don't think he needs
the more coaching things and the administrative things, I'm not sure how deep Mini Mafia kind of dives into those. We don't watch any. We don't talk about that a whole lot. So he may not have as educated of an opinion on that as he does in some other things. But I do understand where the talk is coming from. Spears Bills talk here also mentioning the refs made some bad calls. Yeah, I'm going to bring that up later. Look, one of the things that drives me most crazy as a fan is when other teams' fan bases come on after the game and say, we had to play against the refs or the refs cost us that game. I want to be really, really clear. The refs did not lose that game for us, okay? Throughout a game and throughout any game, there are really bad calls and really bad no calls that go both ways. Some games are more slanted than others. There were some horrible calls in that game. The intentional grounding comes to mind, the no call on the face mask, the no call on the trip, all really bad game-changing calls. However, those calls have been going against us since the start of football. Good teams figure out how to overcome those and still win the game. And it's not like those calls cost us a chance to win the game. So I'm with you. Horrible calls. And I'm not saying you personally were doing this, but I just please don't be one of those fans that blames it on the refs, because you just sound like salty about it. You know what I mean? Like Dolphins fans do that constantly, in my experience. Every game they lose is because of the refs. No, it's because your team wasn't good enough. And the Bills weren't good enough last week. All right, let's get into some review here of the Bills-Bengals game. So what did you pick out of that game that you would like to talk about tonight?
The injuries.
The injuries continue to pile up, don't they?
Like you said earlier, we have an all-pro loss at every single level, especially Trey White. I feel so bad for him. He just got over an ACL that he tore his Achilles.
It was tough.
And like one of his first, I don't think it was like his 10th game back.
I don't know. Something he hadn't been back real long for sure.
Well, he is an all-pro cornerback, and I really like Trey White, so I'm sad to see him go down. Matt Milano and Daquan Jones are also extremely good at their positions, but Tyler Bernard is basically a rookie. Losing him, like when he got thrown into this, like losing him is a really big deal. Like he's a signal caller, and he's like you said, he's our only talented linebacker that we have left.
Like that's ready to play. I think Dorian Williams is really talented, but he's just not there yet. And I don't think Bernard going down would hurt so much if Milano wasn't also got down. But we play two linebackers and we ask him to do a lot, and we're now down both of our starting linebackers. That hurts. I mean, you're running out of options on how to play the run. So I'm with you. I think the injuries played a big part. I just looking at the injury report. They came out today. Normally we would have 2 days worth of injury reports by now, but because we played Monday night, there's only one. Josh Allen is still on the injury report with the right shoulder. However, it was a full practice. To my knowledge, if I'm remembering correctly, the last few weeks, the first practice of the week, he did not have a full practice. So that's an encouraging sign that shoulder's feeling better. Christian Benford, which I noticed in the game, Benford was out. Dane Jackson and Douglas were in. I thought it was performance-based because, as I'm going to point out in a minute, I think Dane Jackson had the best game of his career. However, Christian Benford's out with a hamstring, so maybe there was more injury involved in that than we thought. Terrell Bernard was limited today with the concussion. He is still in the protocol. He has the extra day to get well because, again, we play Monday night. We'll see what happens, but if you want to kind of look and guess yourself, keep an eye out for the injury report for Friday and Saturday. He's going to have to get in a full day's practice. So FP on the injury report if he plans on playing on Monday. So hopefully we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Leonard Floyd did not practice today with an illness. He's kind of disappeared lately, and it's been concerning. Micah Hyde did not practice with a neck stinger. I don't know if this has anything to do with the surgery he had. I'm hoping not. Hopefully he's back. If not, Rapp can play. The issue is that then we can't play our 3 safeties set, which we were doing to cover for Milano being out. So it's just a hodgepodge of issues.
And a comment by Spears Bills Talk, options about Ken Dorsey. I do agree. Honestly, I kind of want him gone.
And I'm with you guys on that. The problem is I don't think you can do it midseason. I think if you do it midseason, you're saying the season's done. I don't think Dorsey will keep his job after this year. We just have to figure out if he is so bad that the horrible option of switching play callers midseason is going to get us closer to being a successful team. And I don't think that random roulette style, I don't think that's going to be helpful. You can't put in a whole new offense mid-season. You don't have the time and the ability to do that. But I agree that Dorsey needs to be swapped out at the end of the year. Unfortunately, we also have Jordan Poyer not practicing with a shin injury. Hopefully he practices later this week. The Broncos only have 2 players on, a linebacker and a guard. And they both were full practice today. So they seem fairly healthy. So I'm with you on the injuries. My defensive point that I wanted to make from last week's game would be Dane Jackson. Like I said before, I think he had the best game he's ever had as a pro. He was all over the place. He was still diving at guys' feet behind the line of scrimmage, but somehow actually brought him down for the loss instead of him running around him like he has every other time. I was really, really impressed with Dane Jackson, and I've been hard on him. We haven't been Dane Jackson fans, and I was impressed with how well he played. So, I think the defense, it's hard to be rough on the defense because of all the injuries, like you said. What about on offense? What'd you see on offense?
Offense, Josh has had 5 straight games with an interception. That's the most of his entire career, like consecutive.
Yeah, that's rough.
So, that definitely needs to have work. I want Josh to go the next 3 games without throwing 1 interception, like just to calm it down a little bit,
Right.
so we know that he can still play legit. He's only 27 and he's throwing 5 straight interceptions. I'm not saying he's bad, but he needs work.
I understand, and he's not a young quarterback anymore, and he needs to get past this block. I can live with some interceptions. I'm sure everybody's seen out there the social media posts about how Josh has the most interceptions since 2018, since 2019, 2020, and so on. He's also played the most games since 2018, and his interception percentage isn't really that much higher than the elite quarterbacks. So it has a lot more to do with he's throwing it more and he's in more games. But I'm with you. 5 straight games with an interception, you got to figure out a way to protect the ball because you are not good enough right now to overcome losing the turnover battle and still win the game. And unfortunately, in the Bengals game, we probably could have survived 1 turnover. And that was a really good team, the Bengals. So with all the bad ref calls, with 1 turnover, if the Kincaid turnover doesn't happen, I think we win that game. It shows you that we don't have to play our best to beat these really good teams. We just have to play better than this. Spears Bills Talk here sharing a comment with us. You wanna read that one?
Yes, I look forward to watching the show every week. Thank you so much, Spears Bills Talk. We've said in earlier podcasts, we love all the support we get. And this is only our 2nd year. I didn't know that this was going to blow up like it did. So I'm extremely thankful for everybody that comes in here and spends their time to watch us.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Spears Bills Talk. We love having you guys in here. Anybody who comes in and chats, it makes it so much more interesting. We had a rough time last week because there was literally nobody in the chat because the live wasn't working and we didn't know. So it was a lot harder without being able to interact with other Mafia members. So we love having you in here. Thank you so much for coming in and supporting the show and sharing your opinions with us. We love to hear it. So offensively for me, first of all, I think we've said this the last 3 weeks. Stop running draws out of shotgun. It is a useless play. Stop. It doesn't work. Please stop doing it. Stop. If I could get Ken Dorsey to understand one thing, it would be stop running the ball out of shotgun. It is useless. It is a waste of a down. Drives me crazy. I'm trying. I know you guys don't personally make the calls, neither do we, but it really works me up. It frustrates me and drives me crazy. Stop running out of shotgun. Beyond that, 8 rush attempts in the game, and that is not good enough to win. You have to be able to move the ball, especially when your pass game is struggling. You have a quarterback who's not playing at his best right now. You have to run the ball. And there were 8 rushing attempts from running backs. I also think Josh's legs need to get moving more often, sooner in the game. We used it once and he scored the touchdown on it with that stupid taunting penalty. And then we barely went back to him until the end of the game. It seems like such common sense. I've said this before. It seems like Dorsey's being given the answers to the test and still failing. And I don't understand how you can be that incompetent sometimes.
I personally think that she could do better as an offensive
I don't think that. I do not know. I don't think that I know football better than Ken Dorsey. But this stuff does seem really obvious. And I wish that he was held accountable for why he's not doing it in the common sense way.
Instead of McDermott taking the heat for Dorsey.
Well, McDermott kind of pointed the finger at Dorsey this week a little bit. So did Josh Allen in a way. He made a comment about he was asked why we didn't go up tempo more in the game, and he said that was the game plan, which is clearly pointing it at Dorsey. And then Sean McDermott talked about being balanced on offense and running the ball more than the 8 times with running back. So there's definitely some issues that are coming up that are with the players and the coaches and Ken Dorsey. And he's going to have to make some changes and figure things out really quickly. I don't know if he'll be in a Bills coaching position next year, but even if he wants to coach for a different team, he's going to have to figure things out very quickly. All right, let's move on to Factor Flag, unless you had anything else to share about last week's game.
I did not.
I want to move past it, put it behind us. Look forward to Denver. I don't want to spend any more time on that stupid Bengals matchup. So congrats to Bengals for the win. You guys played a good game. It still felt like we just kind of gave that game away. It was frustrating. Let's move on. All right, ready? Fact or flag. All right. So for those of you who've never seen this game before, fact or flag is essentially a trivia game. I'm going to make a statement. If Mini Mafia believes it to be a true statement, he'll say fact. If he believes that,
I will throw the flag.
All right.
Flaggy.
So first one here. Fact or flag. The Bills have won 5 out of their last 6 meetings versus Denver. 5 out of their last 6 meetings versus Denver, the Bills won.
How it depends on what years we were facing them.
I don't remember what the years were, but we faced them a lot. We faced them like 50 times altogether.
Like, has it all been from like Josh?
No. It goes back earlier than that. 5 out of the last 6.
Like Fitzmagic era?
Yep. Tyrod Taylor.
We weren't so good then, but Tyrod Taylor did break the playoff streak.
So what do you think? Fact or flag? And in the chat, please feel free to play along if you believe that is a fact or a flag. If you really want to cheat, look it up.
Manning era, wasn't it?
He only played for them for a few years, but yeah. If you really want to cheat and look it up, go ahead. You'll look very smart. If you want to guess and just see if you're right or not, then just take a guess.
I'm gonna say flag.
You're gonna say flag, okay?
Yes, I think we've won less.
All right, so that is a fact. So 5 out of the last 6 matchups have been won by the Bills. So we're on a little bit of a streak here. As I said, we've played Denver 50 times altogether. So there's a lot of history here, even though I don't feel like we played Denver that often. But for whatever reason, we've played them quite a bit. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Next question, fact or flag?
How many questions are there?
3.
Okay.
Denver is ranked bottom 2 in yards allowed in passing and rushing defense. Now, remember, they had that game with Miami that kind of skewed all the stats a little bit, where they gave up 70 points and they gave up like 400 yards through the air and 350 yards around.
They just went against the Chiefs.
They did, but they are ranked bottom 2, so either 31st or 32nd in both rushing and defensive. In both rushing and passing yards allowed on defense.
I would say that's a flag. Like, it's really hard to do that. Like,
you'd have to be a really bad defense, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, an extremely bad defense.
Okay. So your final answer is flag?
Yeah, imagine it's a fact, though.
So you are, in fact, correct. That is a flag. So they are ranked bottom 2, though, in points per game allowed, yards per game allowed total, rushing yards per game allowed, and rushing yards per play allowed. Opponent's completion percentage, which is interesting because Josh is, I don't know if he's still at the top of the NFL, but he's been at the top of the NFL all year in completion percentage. So they're last in a lot of categories. However, they're about middle of the road as far as their pass defense goes. So this is a defense that the Bills should be able to exploit, both on the ground and through the air. And I expect to see them do that. We are a much better team on paper than the Broncos, and you're running out of time to get things right. So, all right, last question. You ready?
Yep.
Fact or flag? Here we go. Okay, so as we've already discussed a little bit, officiating was a very frustrating aspect of last week's game. As I mentioned, there was the intentional grounding, the taunting, by the way, on the intentional grounding, the rule is written that there has to be pressure on the quarterback for it to be, he has to be throwing it to avoid the loss of yardage because there's pressure. If you watch that play, there's no pressure in his face. So it didn't make any sense. But anyway, the no trip, the no face mask call. Here's the deal. Teams versus Denver. This might not get any better this week because teams versus Denver are getting the least amount of penalties called on them each game. So throughout the season, the teams that have faced Denver each week, they get the least amount of penalties called on them. That, like, you know what I'm saying?
So they get the least amount of penalties in their favor?
Yeah, and they go, no. So in Denver's matchups, all the teams they've faced, if you count up all the penalties that the other team has had, the team that's facing Denver, it's less penalties than any other team in the league. So Denver's opponents have gotten less penalties called on them than any other teams in the league.
So I'm going to say that's a fact.
You're going to say that's a fact? Okay.
It's probably a flag, though.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it's probably a flag. Well, I'm saying fact.
It is, in fact, a fact. So yeah, they've had some luck with penalties. As far as the oh wait, no, I'm sorry. They haven't had luck. That goes the other way. I just realized that I wrote this down and then hang on a minute here.
That Denver has had the least amount of penalties called on them.
No, so against the other team, but hang on a minute now. My apologies here. I looked up the stat and now I'm wondering if it's actually the better way in our favor.
I think it's the better way in our favor.
So why don't you talk for a minute here about what you think about the penalties that were called, since that's what we were talking about.
I don't really remember the penalties.
Well, do you remember the face mask that wasn't called on Gabe Davis or the intentional grounding?
I remember the intentional grounding. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
You're not helpful then.
I know.
That's not what I wanted. Okay, there we go. I got it here. Nope, that wasn't it. Okay. I will have to I'll keep looking it up while we're talking here. But now I'm wondering if I have that backwards then, and that's actually a good thing for us. Here we go. I got it right here. Okay. So we have, let's see. Okay, penalties per game. Opponent penalties per game. Yeah, opponent penalties per game. Their opponents are only getting called for, on average, half a penalty a game. So that definitely is in our favor. That the team facing Denver is not getting flagged for a lot of penalties. So that'll help us get back in the good luck things of the refs and of some of these calls. So my apologies on the confusion there. But yeah, they have less penalties being called against their opponents than anybody else in the league. So that works in our favor. All right, moving on from a slightly confusing factor flag. Sorry about that, kiddo. Let's move on to things to watch. So what are your things to watch for this upcoming game?
My offensive thing to watch is the J-gun / up tempo.
Okay.
We need to be running a no huddle, like to tie out the defense. That worked extremely well in not the Cincy game, but the game before.
Against the Bucks.
Yeah, against the Bucks, we ran up tempo a lot, like no huddle a lot, and we need to keep on running that. So like we can get like the speed of things and we don't have a slow start to stuff. Like I think that we should do no huddle like the entire first drive. Like so like that we can get in the speed of things, and so we tire out the defense towards the first towards like the first half.
Yeah.
Instead of them being like them being like them having fresh legs in the second half. Like if they have fresh legs in the second half, that's bad for us because it's bad for us because they still have fresh legs.
Right. You want to wear a defense down. Right. Well, that makes sense. There's a lot of benefits to an up-tempo style of play. You don't allow the defense to sub, which not only tires them out, but one of the big upsides to our offense is how versatile it is. So we can keep the same guys in and we can run the ball, or we can split 4 different possible guys out wide, whether that's James Cook or Dalton Kincaid or Stephon Diggs or whoever. So our versatility is important. So depending on which defense they get stuck in, because we decide to run up tempo and they can't sub, that should allow openings to exploit that defense. So like, let's say they're in a defense that's heavily built to stop the pass, because when the play that they went in was a 3rd and long and we completed it to Stephon Diggs, whatever. Well, now suddenly move Dalton Kincaid back inside on the line, move James Cook back to the backfield. You can even have, they've run some plays with guys like Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs in the backfield. You can run some more power stuff or some underneath stuff that forces those smaller guys to try to come up and tackle, because that's not what they're in there for. They want to play the pass. Vice versa, if it's a 3rd and 1 and you put in your package and you run the ball, then you go to hurry up, you're catching them in a bigger defense, meaning it's harder for them to stick with receivers. So then you take those same guys like a Gabe Davis, who's in there on most 3rd and shorts, and you put him out wide. Dalton Kincaid, instead of him being in close to the line, split him out like a wide receiver, force one of those linebackers to run with him in space. So there's a lot of upside to it for sure. I'm totally with you on the up tempo. For me, the offensive aspect is to run the ball from under center. That's as simple as I can put it. Hopefully, Fournette will help with the rushing attempts and with the running the ball more effectively.
If he plays, he didn't play last game.
Right, but the Broncos are the worst team in the league on rushing yards allowed. So hopefully, we will get to move the ball a little bit on the ground. What did I think of the Kincaid fumble? I'll let you give your opinion too. I felt bad for the guy. It was just one of those tough things. And in most games, that play is not the difference between winning and losing. He's a rookie and he's been asked to do a lot and he's been stepping up a lot lately. I don't put the loss on him. It hurt and it was a really bad time for it. I'm hoping he learns his lesson and the next time he gets up to ended like that, he protects the ball a little better. But I really just felt bad for the guy. It was tough. It was just one of those weird plays that sometimes those go against you. What did you think of it, Spears Bill Talk? What was your opinion of it? What did you think of it, Minnie?
Like I said, I don't really remember the game.
He got flipped up in the air. It was a late game, so you were falling asleep. And he had the ball tucked away, and a guy came in as he's upside down in the air and knocked the ball out.
Knocked it out. I think if you're upside down, just have it in your chest. Like cover like a running back does on the power play. Like on a draw or something,
right?
Cover it more protectively than just like having it loose like this. Because I could have just punched the ball.
It's hard though. It's a lot of body control in that moment. You're flipping in the air. You know, you're about to land. You're waiting for that impact. Like, it's a tough play and a rookie mistake and hopefully a rookie lesson learned. But I in no way could hate on Kincaid after the last few games he's had. He's really stepped up. So it hurt. It was unfortunate. I liked that Josh went right back to him after that because it showed that he still trusted him, and that was a really good sign. Spears Bills Talk here put up another message about I was frustrated with how the game was going, and I don't blame him. I that's exactly how I feel about it. Out of the list of things that cost us that game, the Kincaid fumble is way, way down on the list. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it played a role. Like, you don't want to turn the ball over, but it's nowhere near the issue that cost us the game. And I don't think he's going to do it again. He seems like a smart guy. So
I honestly also don't blame him for losing that game. Kincaid is actually my favorite player on the team.
Oh, he's jumped past Diggs to be your favorite. Wow.
Yes, Diggs is a close second.
Okay.
But honestly, I really like Kincaid. He's kind of like me.
How's that?
Because, he has really good hands like a wide receiver, but he can block too. I have really good hands like a wide receiver, but I'm not as fast as a wide receiver. It's I can't really play one. He kind of reminds me of me. And I really like the dude. When last week they were handing out cards in gym class, and Mr. Carson, my gym teacher, he had a separate and not really Bills fans and mega Bills fans. I went to the mega Bills fans, of course. I was the first one there, and he said, "Who wants Kincaid?" I raised my hand, so excited. I wanted him from the beginning. As soon as I saw the card in there, I'm like, I really want it. Please, please, please. And I got it. So I'm really excited.
Good. Well, I'm glad you like Kincaid so much. I'm wondering if Kincaid is as modest and humble as you are. All right. So on to the defensive side of the ball. For the record, too, it would be you remind yourself of Kincaid, not Kincaid reminds himself of you, because he's older. So you would be like him, not him like you.
Yeah, I said that.
The ego, no, you do, but that's okay. But the ego is pretty big that you're comparing yourself to an NFL guy. I'm just messing with you, kid. All right, on to the defensive side of the ball. That's good. That's good. He seems like a good role model and a good kid. What would be your things to watch for the upcoming on the defensive side of the ball?
My things to watch is the same thing that we need to work on: injuries.
It's hard to work on injuries. You know, they're just kind of there.
Though, with Bernard, we don't know if he's going to play or not. So it depends on which style of defense we're going to play, if he's in there or if he's not.
Well, he should be in there no matter what our defense is. Like, we need a linebacker no matter what defense we're in, basically.
Yeah, like if he's not playing, we're probably going to play, a different defense than if he was in there.
It changes a little bit, but
and it also limits us on what we can do because Bernard is also a very talented linebacker that we lost again. Like, I think he could be an all-pro, like, if he got some more experience.
I agree.
So that is a big loss for us. I still think we can manage without him, but with or without Bernard is a big determination if we're going to win or lose the game.
I got to
I
say,
personally think.
I agree with you that Bernard is a big piece there. And just keeping two things in mind. One, if he does miss time, it's probably only one week. Number two, if he does miss time, remember Dorian Williams came in last week and got the helmet with the green dot on it, meaning he was making all the calls with no reps at that spot. This week, he will have had a full week of reps under this game plan for preparing for making those calls. So I think last week McDermott was very limited on which defenses he could call because he needed to make sure everybody on the field understood what the call was. I don't believe he will be limited like that moving forward. Spears Bills talk here, making another comment. We need an interception. I agree with you. If you look, the thing that's changed from the first few weeks of the season with our turnover margin is that we're not turning the ball over. We're not forcing any turnovers, not that we're turning it over. Those numbers have been pretty consistent all year, but we're no longer forcing turnovers. I was just saying, how many games has it been since we had a turnover?
Like,
trying to remember the last game since our defense forced turnover.
I think
That's
it was
not
the
usual.
Washington or the Miami.
It wasn't. No, it was. I don't even know if forced turnover in Miami, but we did. But no, it was after that. But it's been a while. In the last few weeks, we haven't. And you got to be able to force turnovers, especially when your offense is turning the ball over. So, Poyer might not even be playing because he's on the injured list right now.
Yeah, I think it was Poyer. It was a couple games ago. It bounced off of his hands twice.
Yeah, it was a rough one. For me, the defensive key to the game is, or the defensive thing to watch, I don't want to call it a key to the game, is Rasul Douglas. I want to see him continue to play. He impressed me. I know he gave up some catches last week, but he was right there with T. Higgins. T. Higgins just caught the ball away from his body. That's really hard to defend. But his physicality and his style of play with having like 3 days to prepare and kind of being thrown in there because he didn't start. He was just kind of thrown in. Now I'm thinking it was because of the Benford injury. I want to see what he does with another week under his belt with this defense. I think this guy is going to be a serious factor for us as he continues to build chemistry with our defense. So I want to see what Rasul Douglas does in this game. So that's my defensive key to the game. All right. Anything else you want to talk about those, the things to watch or the key to the game?
Nope.
Okay, so let's move on now to our prediction for we need to say week 5. Spears Bills talk is saying was the last time that we had a turnover, so that makes sense to me. And we're going into week 10 now, so that's a problem. You need to force turnovers, and we've had our opportunities. We just haven't been able to finish them off. So hopefully this week against a struggling Denver team, we can get back on track there. All right. Josh Allen stat line. If anybody in the chat has any things to watch for the upcoming game, or if you have a Josh Allen stat line you want to share with us, please feel free to put it down there. We'll put it up on the screen. Or if you're watching this after the fact, we'll check it out and let you know what we think of your prediction. So Josh Allen stat line, what do you got going on? You want me to go first? Okay. I guess this is one of those, I'm going to keep saying it until it's right because it's got to be right eventually. I think this is going to be a bounce back game for the offense. I am seeing Josh Allen with around 290 yards passing, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. He's going to break this streak right here, and I think he's going to rush a little bit more. I think he's going to add about 50 yards on the ground. So 3 TDs, 0 interceptions, a total of about 340 yards.
I had Josh Allen throwing for 46 yards, 17 for 29 attempts. 1 interception, unfortunately, I think he's just going to throw one. 4 touchdowns, 25 rushing yards, and 0 rushing touchdowns.
Okay. If Josh Allen at the end of the day is a +3 in the touchdown to turnover spot, I can live with that. We need an offensively dominant game here. This is a team that gave up 70 points to Miami a while back. I know what they did to the Chiefs, but that's inside the own division. That's a tougher game. We need to get right this week. Our season needs to start now. This is time to start looking like your playoff form team. And right now, this week is when it needs to start on national television on Monday Night Football.
A comment from Spears Bills Talk: 3 touchdowns and 1 interception.
So he's kind of between our two. So I had 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. You had 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Do you have any idea if he's going to add any on the ground, Spears, or you think 3 total? Just curious. All right, so on to our hot take review from last week. Neither one of us were right. Tough the way that game went, and I did say that I expected Kincaid to continue to be a big factor. He was, but that really wasn't a hot take. Either way, our predictions last week were a little rough. So let's move on to these predictions about this week going up against Denver. What do you want to go first or second?
Second.
Okay. So Von Miller missed a tackle at the end of the game, and it was tough because we feel like we brought him in to be a closer in the big moments in big games when we need you to make a play. That's when we need somebody to make a play. That's why you're here. And I felt bad for the guy. He's still coming back off the injury, and that was rough, but he's got to make that play. I don't get the diving at the guy's ankles. I don't know how that's helpful. Okay. If you break through and get penetration behind the line, hold the guy up. I don't care if you can't bring him down. Hold him up until your teammates break through. But anyway, moving forward, I think between the psychology behind that, Von being another week removed from the injury and back and playing his old team. He's never played the Broncos before, so that should also be an interesting aspect.
Josh?
Nope, Von.
Oh.
I think Von was very hard on himself.
He was on the Broncos.
Right, that was most of his career. And he won a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP with the Broncos. So I believe that Von is going to have a big week. I think he's going to get at least 1 sack this week, and then he's going to have at least 2 other notable positive plays, whether that's tackle for loss, batted ball, big tackle, whatever. I think we're going to see Von play quite a game. So Spears here clarified his 3 TDs, 1 interception. He believes it is 2 in the air and 1 rushing. So, all right, I can see it. Let's go. And we have another comment here from Stephen Bryant. We'll get you up on the screen there, Stephen. It's love my team. I hope we win. Go Bills. Flexing. I love it. That's exactly what we want to see. Win or lose, it's still going to be my team. I was here through the 2-14 seasons. I was here for the 13-3 seasons. I'm going to be here either way. I have a Bills tattoo. My kids have been raised in a Bills household. It is what it is. So, Steven, we'll get you up on the screen there. Make sure that we show your comment to anybody else who's here. All right. And if you have any hot take predictions or score predictions you want to share with us, please go ahead. Go ahead. You want to give us your hot take?
The rookie to this team, Rasul Douglas, 1 interception and 1 forced fumble.
Oh, well, that would be what Spears Bills Talk was talking about there earlier, that we need an interception. I'll take it from Rasul Douglas. Yeah, I'd like to see him have a big game like that.
Honestly, I like him. I think he can be a closer.
Yeah.
The X factor.
I love it. And I think we're both predicting a big games for guys on defense, I think, because the offense has just been so hard to predict lately. So it's kind of interesting. We both went defense this time. Okay. So if you have any hot takes, please share them with us in the chat. And we're going to move on to our final segment, which is our score prediction. So if you have a score prediction, what you believe the final score will be of the Bills-Broncos matchup this Monday night, please share it below.
This is one extremely fast.
Yes. All right. So you want to go first or second for your score prediction?
I want to go second.
Okay. Real quick, before I give my score prediction, on your way out, or if you want to do it now, close the chat and do it real quick. Just giving it a quick like helps a lot. Tommy, who he's the one who runs the Mafia Sports Report channel. He works really hard and he puts together a lot of really great content. He does some himself. He kind of subcontracts it out to other people. He tries to have a variety on there, but he works really hard. And honestly, just clicking that like button helps tremendously in the YouTube algorithm. So if you can take a second to do that, we really appreciate it. All right, on to the score prediction.
Another comment by Spears. Bills Talk, his final prediction is 31-25. Actually, my prediction has 2 numbers.
All the same numbers.
Yeah, all of the same numbers, but 2 numbers are switched.
Well, you should share yours now that you said that. So go ahead. So
I will.
You have 31-25. I'd like to see it be a little bit wider of a margin, but if we win, I will take it. I'm not going to be greedy.
The 5 and the 1 are switched around. I have 35-21. Those are still close.
Well, that's a 2-score win. I think everybody would prefer a 2-score win to the 31-25. But if that's what you believe is going to happen, I think we could all see that happening given the way they've played lately. So I would take 30 points, though. I feel like that would show our offenses has some life in them. So, or 35, I'll take it. I'm not usually the most extreme one here, but I'm going even bigger than you guys are. I'm thinking this is going to be a blowout. I'm predicting a 41-20 Bills victory on Monday night. We've seen this offense play at too high a level for me to not believe that at some point it's going to come out and look good. And I'm going to keep saying every week, I think it's the week until it happens, because eventually I'm going to be right. And when I am eventually right, I will cop to the fact that I've been wrong about it for the last however many weeks. But I think that it's going to be a blowout, 41-20 Bills. I think this is the kind of game where we have the offensive starters, defensive starters sitting at the end of the game. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want to see Monday night. We do have another comment here. You want to read that one?
Yes, I think it is Rosaline Jacob.
Yep.
Go Bills and 6 blue Buffalo Hearts.
Love it. So for sure, go Bills.
Bills.
We're just about to wrap it up here, Rosalie, but if you want to see the rest of our content, you can definitely go back and watch from the beginning of the show. If you put any comments below, I check in on the comments usually about once or twice a day. So I love to see what you guys say after the fact if you have something you wanted to add or somebody who watches the show later. So please feel free to share any predictions or comments or something maybe that we could be doing better or something that you think that we could do differently that would make the show more interesting or more fun. Is there anything else you would like to add before we close out here?
Yes, one thing about your score prediction, a 3-score difference. That's a lot.
Yeah. I think we're going to double their score. I feel like they're going to come out and they're going to look like the Bills that they looked like against the Titans last year or against the Rams last year. I just think they're going to come out and they're going to look like
against the Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Spears Bills talk here saying we can win the Super Bowl. Totally right. Like, go back and look at the Rams the season they won the Super Bowl, or the Bucks the season when they won the Super Bowl. These teams were not world beaters all season. That's not how it works. You're going to face adversity. You're going to struggle at some point, and it's how do you come back from that? We have the talent. We have the pieces. We have the playmakers. We have the potential of being there. It's about getting hot and playing your best football when it matters the most. And we're coming up on that time now. So I by no means am throwing in the towel for the Super Bowl this year. I think it's very much still a possibility. I would like to see us take the lead in the division. Every time we get a loss from Miami, we end up losing. So we got to get that fixed, and we got to get our problems straightened out, clean up your own house type of thing. But I think the Super Bowl is 100% still on the table. What do you think? You think we still got a shot at the Super Bowl this year?
I do. Just we're going to have to make a huge comeback.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get things fixed, right?
Because are we like 5-4?
Yeah, but we're only one game out of the first place in the AFC East. Honestly, every team has at least, I believe, 3 losses in the AFC except for like Baltimore.
Wow.
So we're not really that far. We're only one game behind the Chiefs, and we play them again. We're only one game behind the Dolphins, and we play them again. Like, we're not far from being where we want to be. So, and like I said, we have games in hand that we have to play these teams again. So then we can close that out. So, okay. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today and all the interaction. We love hearing from you guys and hearing your opinions. And yeah, until next time,
go Bills.
Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.